What's up guys, Dawson Weidrich from Nerdy in Many Ways, and today we talk about this puppy, this beauty that I just got in the mail a couple days ago. It's Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy for the Switch, and I am very excited to play this. I've already played it a little bit since I've gotten it. I just was too excited to do a video about it before I played it, because it's such a nostalgic game, because I actually have a copy of it on the Xbox right here. It is Xbox 360 compatible, and so I do play it on there as well. But today I kind of want to talk about Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy when it was first released, the kind of game it is. I'm also going to be talking about a lot of its story and its main concept. So, spoiler alert ahead of time. If you don't feel like being spoiled and you want to wait till you play the game, you can go ahead and click out of this video. But if you have seen videos of the game where you've played it, or you don't really care about the spoilers, we'll move forward. So Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy was released in 2003. It was a Eurocom development game that was published by THQ. Now this was in the hype of the Egyptian, fad that was going on. This was in the height of the popularity of the Mummy franchise with Brendan Fraser. And so to capitalize on this, THQ made this game Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Now, I say this to a lot of people. If you're a fan of the Legend of Zelda franchise, and you also really like Egyptian throwback stuff from the early 2000s, you would love Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, because it is very Zelda-like. The combat's very basic, but there's a lot of puzzle solving and a lot of world exploring, and it's actually very, very fun. And the music is just beautiful. It's very simple, but it just makes you feel like, well, you're in an Egyptian desert, and it's really cool. With the story, it begins with you as Sphinx, which is the character you play as for most of the game, and your partner at the time, Horus. And you two are apprentices to the sorcerer Imhotep. That's not to be confused with the Mummy Trilogy Imhotep. This is a different one. This is a lion-like, cartoonish character. A lot of these characters, they're somewhat based in Egyptian mythology, but every character is an animal of some kind, excluding a couple of very small-time characters. And you basically are on this mission to figure out what kind of evil is coming up, because Imhotep senses an evil power emerging into their world and corrupting everything around them. And so basically your first thing you have to do is you have to go and get the Blade of Osiris, which in Egyptian mythology is one of, if not the main god that is worshipped back in the Egyptian times. And so you get this blade, and at that time Horus, he gets hit by the ray from the castle of Uruk. And he gets sent into a pit of lava. And it appears that is the end for our friend Horus. And so basically you're sent on this entire adventure where you end up getting lost, and you get sent to different places to collect different abilities, different objects that can help you along the way. And during the same time, the character known as Prince Tutankhamun, yes, King Tut, is in this game. He is indeed the Cursed Mummy. But before that, we see him on the morning of his birthday. And so he's just traveling around his castle. It's actually a very fun level of the game. It's playing as Prince Tut and eventually as the Mummy. It's just very fun because he can't die. If he falls a high level, he just flops on the ground. It looks like it's painful, but he just gets back up, and it's very fun. You're simply collecting things and performing different tasks and solving different puzzles, and it's very stress-free and very fun. Although sometimes finding some of the objects you need to find can be kind of challenging, and for me I had to look up some videos on how to, but it is very fun. But right from the get-go, you can automatically tell that there's something off, because you run into King Tut's brother, Akhenaten, I believe is his name, and you immediately get the bad guy vibe from him. He's automatically jealous of Prince Tut's birthday. He's automatically, just really pessimistic and very negative towards his brother, and so you just automatically know, like early video game one-player culture, oh, he's a bad guy. And so on that level you collect all these amulets because your aunt tells you to, and she also looks very creepy for no apparent reason. And at the end you find out that your brother Akhenaten is, in fact, the evil Egyptian god Set. And he has tricked Prince Tut into basically being mummified. And now Nefertiti, who is betrothed to Tut, is trying to warn him about this, but she is too late and is forced to watch him become mummified through a ceremony. And now the ceremony is interrupted by Sphinx, who at this point has also gotten the shield of Osiris in hand with the blade of Osiris. And so now, with the ritual disrupted, Both Set and his minion and the mummy are transported through a teleport to the castle of Uruk. And this turns out to be a big benefit for Sphinx, because while he's there, he finds out that the mummy isn't completely dead. Nefertiti, in fact, gives him a canopic vase with part of Sphinx's soul in them. And along the way, he ends up having to find this character named Basket, who is literally a magic basket, to help him to transport those canopic vases to the mummy in order to bring him back to life for a certain period of time. Now, when you're the mummy, you're in the castle of Uruk all the time. So basically what you're doing there is you're recollecting these stolen items from this museum that Sphinx has run into. You're collecting these objects that'll help Sphinx as well as the mummy. And basically you're just trying to help Sphinx infiltrate the castle. And Basket is sort of the middleman in this whole scenario. The mummy and Sphinx don't actually meet until the very end of the game.
And along the way, Sphinx gets a lot of different abilities, like you see there, the double jump. And just here in a second, he swims really fast like an alligator. These are all skills you have to develop along the way, along with the ability to throw projectiles underwater, and also to do things like using zip lines, all things that you develop inside the game during the journey.
He also gets these interesting objects called capture beetles. And capture beetles are very useful because there's different animals in the game that do different things. Like there's the shock armadillo, there's the fire armadillo, there's the slurping burble, who is an exploding two-legged turtle actually. And so you can capture these monsters, and you can actually capture them and give them to a museum who has lost a lot of their material that they had, or their art, or their animal exhibit. Or you could use them for your own benefit, whether it be to kill enemies or to accomplish certain puzzles. Some puzzles actually require some of these animals to be used and captured by capture beetles. And so, again, this game is a very, very fun game. Very enjoyable, and also very challenging, because not everything is clear as far as what you need to do to defeat certain bosses and to accomplish certain tasks. The game forces you to think quite a bit, and again, as I mentioned, if you're a fan of Legend of Zelda, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Those dungeons and those shrines, especially in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, can be very, very challenging, can be very, very mind-bending, and it is very enjoyable. It's very much a thinking game. And again, so the combat is really, really easy and simple. It's kind of button mashing, actually. You can switch it up with a couple of double jumps and slams with the Blade of Osiris, but the combat is very basic, although you do have some enemies that can be quite pesky, like animals that spurt out fireballs or exploding plants that if you get too close to them, they'll explode and hurt you. This was released for the PlayStation 2, the GameCube, and the Xbox. As I mentioned before, I have a copy from the Xbox that I actually got about 3 years ago, because I remember I would watch my older brother play this game when I was 6 years old, because that's how old I was when the game came out. And I would always try to help him out and figure out what to do in the game. And I remembered it like 10 years later, and I was like, I want that game again. That game was a very fun game, so I got it for Christmas. I played through it multiple times again, and it was very, very fun. And when I heard that the Nintendo company was releasing it on the Switch, I was ecstatic. I was extremely excited, because I didn't know what they were going to do with it. I didn't know if they were going to Breath of the Wild fies it, if that's even a word, or if they were just going to keep it the same and enhance the graphics. And it turns out they just simply released the same exact game with a few minor tweaks, like enhanced graphics, different loading screens that show things that happen in the things previous to you saving the game or being transported to another part of the world. But again, it's a very, very fun game. I'm very glad the Switch released it, because it has kind of a dark horse following. It kind of has a cult following a little bit. It's kind of like Firefly, in a sense. And a lot of people really enjoy this game, and I feel like Nintendo will be really benefited by making a sequel to it, because at the end, you fight Set, you defeat him, the balance between good and evil is restored between Osiris and Set, and the mummy doesn't quite get back to normal. He is able to collect all the canopic vases, or the last one actually, and as he's about to get it, he trips, falls, and it breaks, releasing that last part of his soul that he needed to become completely mortal again. And Imhotep said, don't worry, we'll try to find another way. And so I really feel like Nintendo has a great opportunity to make that sequel, because it'd be very enjoyable if you made it even more open world. People can get more of an open world Egyptian game than they've ever had before. I mean, there's also Assassin's Creed Origins, which is like that, but to have something along the lines of Sphinx or something like Zelda in an Egyptian world would just be extremely fun. Because I don't know about you, whenever I play Zelda Breath of the Wild, I love going to the Gerudo area just because of all the different ruins that are everywhere, the desert-like area, and it's very, very fun for me. The only thing I would say about the Switch version of the game is the camera. The camera is very difficult to control sometimes, and it can get kind of pesky. But other than that, it's the only thing that I've found wrong with the game released by the Switch. And again, I really enjoyed this game. Let me know if you are looking forward to playing it, if you've played it before, what your thoughts were on it. And again, I'm very excited to play it through the whole story again on the Switch. And so that's my video. Next time we'll be talking about the Joker film. They just released a new trailer for Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and I'm extremely excited. I'm going to break it down and talk about it in depth and my personal opinions on it. Until then, see you guys next time.